So hot, we got Swish even talking about it.
I know.
I mean, how could you not? It's like the biggest news going on in sports right now, other than here at the All-Star game.
You're so jealous. He was watching. Oh, I'm grabbing my mic. Goodness gracious, got 8 people yelling at me. He's watching the show on the monitors. He's got a jacket on. He's like, Jenna's got them guns showing.
No,
Let me take off my sports coat just so he can show the arms just a little bit.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, just what a beautiful day here in the 216. Thought I'd take my jacket off, feel good about it.
Let's talk about the 216. The most pristine day. The grass is beautiful. We were in D.C. last year, which was just gorgeous. You were here with us. Talk about being in Cleveland for the All-Star game. First time since '97 the city hosted.
I mean, how awesome is it? You know, I was able to be here for 4 years. They weren't exactly the greatest 4 years for myself personally, but to be able to be here with the team and to experience this city and the sports that they have to offer. Think about all the great things that are going on right here. The Cleveland Indians are playing great this year, making a push for that division title once again. Cleveland Browns are really stepping their game up right now. The Cavs could do a little work, but hey, I mean, right now with everything that's going on in the city, for myself, so nice to be back here. Everybody's been great. I mean, it's almost like kind of like a little bit of a coming home. So to be able to have the great weather, the great ballpark, great people, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better venue.
It's a shame you don't like it as much.
All right, let's get to this half of the season we just saw finished. American League, incredibly top-heavy. We've got 3 teams that might win 100 games. We've got 4 teams that might lose 100 games. Let's talk about, I think, the best team in the American League, the Yankees.
Right.
How have they been able to do it? I think it's 86 lineups in 87 games, yet they got the best record in the AL. How?
Well, I think it just goes to show you the depth the New York Yankees have. I mean, if you think of that, one point in time, they had an entire all-star team on the IL. That just doesn't happen a whole lot. It's almost like someone had like a little doll and people were putting pins in the dolls.
Yeah.
But to see where they are right now and to show the tenacity and I guess the fortitude just in general to know that you are the New York Yankees and whatever lineup you put out there you expect to win, I think that's such an amazing thing. Houston Astros are another team that I think is right up there at the top. I think what's crazy about the game now is that there's one trade deadline, July 31st, and that's a huge, huge day for baseball this year. It's going to be a lot of moves going on. If the Yankees can get one more guy, whether that's a starter or a bullpen guy. I'm just saying, if you feel good about yourself right now, one more guy would make you feel even better. So I think with where they are right now, they're in a great spot. They expect to win, and like the New York Yankees of the past, if you don't win the World Series, it was considered a bad year.
All the questions we've talked about as far as their personnel, number of their key players injured, let's talk about their skipper.
Yeah.
How much more confidence do you have in him now, given that we have more experience, we've seen it, but the adjustments that he's made with the limited roster?
Yeah, well, I think that's another thing that people really need to understand. It's not only the players that get better from year to year, it's also the coaching staff as well. And if you look at Aaron Boone, with what he's done, boy, his attitude, he is just like super cool, right? I mean, definitely not like me. I mean, I'm living like this. But he's one of those guys who can just handle any situation, right? He backs his players. He has the respect of his guys in that locker room. And I've always been a major fan of bringing over a person who was part of your organization. He understands what the Yankee way is like. And for him to come over and do what he's doing this year, it's not a surprise to me. It was almost like Brian Cashman said, hey, here are the keys to the Ferrari, my man.
Right.
You got this.
But you were saying that from the beginning, though, when they hired him.
Of course, I thought he was a great hire.
Yankees coming off a pretty good measuring stick and splitting the series with the Devil Rays.
Right.
How important is it going to be for them to have a healthy Aaron Judge now heading into the second half?
Yeah, you know, I feel like for, Judgey, he's really just trying to get the rhythm of everything back. I mean, obviously missing all that time.
54 games,
Yeah,
I
it
think
takes a little time to get the speed of the game back. It's not as easy as what it looks like on TV. Yeah. So I think in general, if you're looking at the lineup right now, the one guy that kind of stands out in my mind is like a Giancarlo Stanton. If you can bring him back in that lineup, it's almost like a new age murderer's row, kind of replicating the lineups of Yankees in the past. But I think if there is something that the Yankees need to worry about, I think it is their pitching, right? I feel like with Dylan Betances in the back end of the bullpen, he's beat up a little bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Yankees feel pretty good about where they are, especially in first place at the break.
First place at the break, despite the injuries, and you're saying they're worried about their pitching, but they're going to get Bumgarner, right? Like, I mean, that's going to happen, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of things that are still up in the air. I don't know if Madison's going to shave that beard. I don't know if that's his style. You know what I'm saying?
They would special dispensation for
Ohio State and the Yankees. No facial hair, man.
It's like a rule. Has been in the past. Always will be, I think. I think that's the one thing the New York Yankees have.
Hold on. Are you saying, sorry, I did my hold on that you don't like. Are you saying his beard could be a legitimate stumbling block into him being a Yankee.
I mean, that's just joking around. I think Madison will go where he wants to go. I'm not quite sure New York City is his thing.
Okay.
But then again, if Brian Cashman wants you and he wants to win, he's going to find a way to bring you over.
Even though they're this good, they've got a good farm system right now.
Think about it. Do you want to go out and do you want to get that number 2 or that number 3 starter, or would you rather go into the bullpen and bring a flamethrower throwing 100 miles an hour, shortening the game? If you look at the way the Yankees are constructed, they are constructed to score early and hold the lead. They have such a tremendous bullpen moving forward. Adam Ottavino, or Aroldis Chapman, who's here in the All-Star game, right? If you bring over one more power arm to shut down one more inning, then you don't have any pressure on your starters. Then all of a sudden, come playoff time, you only need to go 3-4 innings. You don't have to push your starters 7-8.
And Nick stole part of my question. Are there any other superstars as we approach that one trade deadline where you don't have that flexibility that we could look for potentially to be on the move, to be the difference in someone trying to make that pennant chase?
You know what? That's funny. I think there's a whole heap of guys that could be on the move. You're talking about starting pitchers. I also think Marcus Stroman could be a name on the list. Right? He was born and bred in the AL East. He understands what that competition is like. He understands that his role moving forward could be part of a contending and hopefully part of a World Series team. I think more than anything, I think there could be some bullpen guys on the move. I think that's where the game has gone. It's turned into more of a power game rather than a finesse game. So I think that if those bullpen guys, Craig Kimbrell, I thought was a huge pickup for the Cubs moving forward. So I think with where teams are right now, it's interesting because they got one day, one trade deadline to do all the moves they want to make.
Last year, Swish, the hottest name at the break was Bryce Harper.
Yes.
So what everyone talked about was Bryce Harper. The other guy who equally as talented was Mike Trout, but because he didn't have the flash, we didn't talk so much about him. How consistent, how impressive has Trout been so far this season?
I mean, the guy signs like a $500 million deal, and he's still hitting home runs.
Still hitting home runs.
If you look at the contracts that were signed in the offseason, you think of the 3 big contracts. Think of Bryce Harper, you think of Manny Machado, and you think of Mike Trout. Mike Trout is far and away, hands down, better than those guys as of right now. And not only that, to be able to handle the pressure of $430 million, right? Like, that's supposed to ease you up. But, hey, look at what Bryce is doing right now. He's struggling a little bit, right? There's a lot of things that you have to – the expectation level is high, and it's so hard to live up to that sort of numbers. I mean, come on, CC. They didn't have contracts like this back when you were playing.
When you signed your first $430 million contract, did you feel the pressure to perform?
Right. Did you feel like that your hands felt softer?
Like nervous?
I don't remember a lot of great players talking about pressure. I always think that the greatest athletes, it's already baked in that they're able to handle it. Mike Trout is a little bit different. He's the one player I said, if I could grab one Major League Baseball player and turn him into an NFLer, it would be Mike Trout.
He's 240 pounds, too, by the way.
Running back from South Jersey.
Gee, man, he's feeling good about himself every day.
All right, I don't want to totally neglect the National League, considering they might have the best team in baseball. And with respect to Mike Trout, they might have the guy who's playing the best of anyone in baseball right now, in Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
What the Dodgers, we know what the story of them as of the last half decade or so has been. Very, 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 very good, but not good enough. Is this year different? And then as a second part to it, what Cody Bellinger's doing, somehow, if you'd have told me Christian Yelich was going to have the season he's having, I'm like, he's going to run away with the MVP. But Bellinger's somehow been better. The Dodgers part 1, Bellinger part 2.
I mean, hats off to the Dodgers to come back for the 3rd straight season and to be putting up the numbers they have. I mean, statistically, by far the best team in baseball right now. I think they have 60 wins right now.
60 wins,
which is
despite a 3-game losing streak going into the break.
Yeah, and they just lost 3 to the Padres, right? So I think with what Cody Bellinger's doing, I think last year in the postseason, I think baseball exposed some of his weaknesses. The thing that I love most about Cody Bellinger is that he said, hey, these are the things I'm struggling with. I'm going to go home in the offseason. I'm going to fix them. And that's exactly what he's doing. If you look at his approach now, it seems like his legs are a lot more quiet, right? He's got that beautiful, long, left-handed follow-through, but his legs are soft. His legs are quiet within the swing. Because when you have that sort of whip in your bat, you don't need to work a lot from your lower half. It just kind of does what it does. I think the one thing that I like about him the most is his leadership. His ability to go out and play multiple positions. You need him to play first base, he'll do that. You need him to play in the outfield, he'll go and do that, right? He's in the middle of that lineup each and every day. Here's a little snafu with him and Dave Roberts a little bit when he kind of lackadaisically kind of ran out of double. But I think he learned his lesson, right? Because as young players and as young kids that are watching a guy like that, that's the last thing you want to see. In my mind, I think he's far and away the NL MVP right now. And if he continues to keep this going the way that they are, the Dodgers did a great thing last offseason. What they did is I guess they kind of opened up the doors a little bit, got rid of some personalities in that locker room and letting some younger kids shine. And I think Dave Roberts knows exactly what he's doing out there. They've got a great squad. It wouldn't shock me again to see them back in that World Series.
I want to follow up real quick on the Dodgers because if you look at the standings, they have 14 more wins than the Diamondbacks. They've got 6 more wins than the Braves. Yeah. They are not going to play a meaningful game until October. Not another meaningful game.
Right.
Is there, when you have that type of lead, because even the Yankees, as good as they are, if home field matters in the AL, that's going to come down to the last week of the season.
Yes,
Twins,
sir.
Astros, so they know they're going to win their division, but they still have something to play for. All of a sudden, when you have it all wrapped up, the #1 seed essentially wrapped up at the break, and then you're in that best of 5,
right,
where it's that quick, can that... I don't want to say being this good works against you, but you understand what I'm saying?
Sometimes it can. The only thing that comes to my mind is the Cleveland Indians in years past on how they just absolutely ran away with the division. They were like 10, 12 games up. I think that's the one thing the Dodgers are going to have to overcome, right? Dave Roberts is going to have to do a good job resting his guys, making sure his guys know exactly what the goal of the season is. And by the way, let's be honest, with the talent that they have in that lineup, I don't think that's going to be a problem. They just lost the World Series the last 2 seasons. I don't think you need to burn any fires for those guys.
I think they're going to be self-starters at the end of the season because of the failures. When you don't have that success, yes, if they were the Golden State Warriors or a team like that to dominate, I would be concerned. But when you have not been rewarded for your regular season success, I think internally, and that's where I believe that their skipper is underrated, and we're going to lean on him, Jenna.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about the home run derby.
Okay.
You were a guy who had a strategy in 2010. You were a young guy who was ready to do. I won't embarrass myself anymore. I like the guys that are. I like the young guys that are playing. You got Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Josh Bell, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman. Talk to me a little bit about what we're going to see out there. If we're going to see the power that we saw the last 2 years.
Oh, I think you're going to see more than that. I think with now, baseballs are flying out of the ballparks at an alarming rate night.
Also, the last 2 times we were in Miami and in D.C., very, very humid. The overall endurance started to play its part. It's going to be a cool night, and the wind's going to be blowing out tonight. So
yeah, I mean, right now it feels awfully nice right here. It doesn't feel like you're going to be doing a whole lot of sweating tonight.
Right.
But I think just in general, the boom of youth that we have in our game, Pete Alonso is a guy that really kind of comes to mind, the polar bear, right? Just bigger than the game itself. If you think about it, man, we are starting to gain those basketball players and those football players. We're starting to gain those guys in our sport, which I think is absolutely amazing. But I don't know. I think it's all up in the air. I think it has a lot to do with your BP thrower. Yep. I've seen a couple things on the gram, right? Vladdy Guerrero Jr. has been practicing, getting himself ready.
Okay.
Hey, but by the way, let's be honest. If the league minimum in Major League Baseball is something around $520,000 and the winner gets $1 million, if I was a rookie, don't you think I wouldn't be trying to get that $1 million?
It was $700,000 last year. It's up to that now this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, incentive to get out there and win it.
All right, real quick before you go. Basketball's over. Football hasn't started left, so the only thing left to gamble on is baseball. Who's the pick for tomorrow night? NL or AL?
Oh, AL. I think it's been like that for a while. I think the power arms that you're going to see coming out of that bullpen for the American League are going to be pretty impressive. But I think the one great thing about this is that we're bringing our best players to the game right here to Cleveland so our fans can see that firsthand. I think it's an unbelievable week. So honored to be here.
The NBA said you can have players that we don't want. The NFL said, you know something? We're going to steal a couple quarterbacks from you, little Kyler Murray. We did steal from Major League Baseball. Okay, so we can understand. We'll loan you guys a couple, but we're going to steal that quarterback.
That's right. That's right. Well, I figured you guys both be happy. I know Nick's pumped up. You know, LeBron, he's feeling good out there. He got his boy AD showed up for him. They're going to be feeling real good.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, thank you so much, as always.
Good to see you guys, no doubt.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.